All right, we're starting to cook with some gas here. We've got our CSS colors and our background colors. Things are starting to come together. We're going to introduce something that's a little bit more abstract, and we're going to start going down the pixels and what does it even look like to be a CSS pixel. And we're going to introduce two new properties today, width and height. So what we're going to do is first, let's add a division. Remember that div. I don't know if you remember that from the beginning of our HTML content. But I'm going to go ahead and delete this comment up here because I don't think we need that anymore because the image tag's already in. So you do this with me. Code along with me. I'll wait for you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and type in div and then do a closing tag of div. And this is just for demonstration purposes right now because this is an abstract topic. So I want to put it into more concrete terms. So a pixel is going to be a portion of the resolution of our screen. Sounds like a lot. Let's go look at this for a second. So join me in typing div inside of our CSS. And once we've got our open and close curlies, we're going to introduce those two new properties I talked about, width and height. So let's go ahead and type it with me, width, colon. And then I want everybody to type the following with me, 1px. So px is a unit of measure called a pixel. And we're trying to explore it right now. So let's keep going. Let's go to height, colon, 1px, and semicolon. And then lastly, we're going to use something we already know, background dash color. And we're just going to use red because it shows up. Like there's no reason otherwise. So you may not see it on my screen because it's so tiny, but there is a 1 pixel on your screen. So this is what a pixel looks like. Now I'm going to zoom in with my browser. You can do this too by hitting Control if you're on a PC or Command if you're on a Mac and plus. So Control plus, Command plus. And I'm just going to zoom in here and wow, there's the pixel zoomed in. So this is what 1 pixel will look like, at least on my monitor with my resolution. It'll look a little bit different on your monitor depending what kind of monitor you have. So, you know, when people talk about resolution and pixel density, here's a pixel. So we as web developers and web designers utilize pixels in CSS to change the shape and the form of different things on the internet. So when you see something interesting, there's pixels usually involved in it. So this lesson is meant to walk through and just show you what a pixel looks like. But let's kind of see, I zoomed back out. By the way, that was really quick. Let me slow down. Control 0 or Command 0 gets you back to 100% view. Do that now, because if you don't and you're zoomed in, it's going to wreck all your development environment. So just make sure if you did follow along with me in zooming, hit Control 0 or Command 0 while you're in the monitor, while you're in the browser. Okay, let's make this pixel bigger. So I'm going to just put a 0. Join me in doing this. So you put a 10 pixel and you can see we've got a 10 by 10 square. And let's just add another 0 and you'll see 100 pixels. Now we start to see some interesting behavior with CSS. Now we're starting to see some of this content overlap and some weird things that we're seeing. So this is when we have to start learning about spacing and layout and different tools that we can use in CSS. But to even get here, to even fathom about these things, we need to understand, what does a pixel even look like? Also, we can put pixels inside of fonts. So I'm going to bring this back down to 10 just for now, so we're not busting into anything. And then I want you to go to your H1, and we're going to introduce a new property and the final property for this module. So join me. Font dash size. It needs to have that dash in there, so be careful. Colon, and then semicolon to finish the statement. And then we're going to put in a pixel size. So that's right, we can put in like 10px and watch what happens to our H1. It gets really tiny and see how it matches that square in height? That's pretty cool. So it shows us that it is 1 for 1 with the pixels. All right, with our font size, we're going to be changing it to be 20 pixels. Let's take a look at this, 20px. And now we can see that it gets bigger. We can even do 120 and make it huge. So pixels are a huge part of the next portion of the CSS that we're going to be covering. So that is what a pixel is. Let's go to the next video and see how we can use these pixels.